had financial purpose. I wanted to be independent, and I think I would not find it in being employed somewhere and working for someone else.
Tony Kula. He has built 3 businesses, exiting his first in his mid-20s and spending 2 decades turning the next into a video distribution powerhouse, which he sold 6 years ago. His latest venture, MeetYoo, skyrocketed during the pandemic, but faced serious challenges afterward, prompting Tony to reassess his priorities. Now he's an advocate for healthy living, an Ironman athlete, and is finding his new purpose through angel investing and writing.
If I would not have my sports, I would just freak out. I would say I have more routines now. I'm physically better than I was like 10 years ago.
In this episode, we explore his 3 decades of post-exit lessons and his uniquely European take on work-life balance. Hi, Tony.
Hi, Anastasia.
Hi, very happy to have you here. If you don't mind, I want to start with saying that it's quite incredible that you had 3 exits at very different stages in your life. And if you can briefly tell us also what each of the company did, that would be great.
In terms of exits, it's like maybe 2.5 exits because the last one was not a financial exit. I just stopped working in my company. Let's start maybe with the first one. That was a very small software business that I was a spin-off out of my other business, and we were like building a software that was connecting video conferencing systems. At that time, in my early 20s, so this is now 25 years ago, the video conferencing systems, they were not talking like one to another. And I had a bright guy, a CTO that we had at this time, and we were building that. And like more or less by accident, in a US company, a listed company that was listed on NASDAQ, they exactly liked that software. We didn't have any customers by that time. We just could show, and it was like really, we faked that a little bit, but they liked it so much they invited us to Texas, and I sold the company. So they said, here's the offer. So I had no idea about M&A. I was not thinking too much. I was 25 or 26 years, and it was a lot of money for me, and I could invest it in my business. But I was not like thinking, okay, now let's stop working. I did some mistakes on the stock exchange because I thought now I'm going to be super smart. But luckily I also bought my first real estate at that time. And then I started to build the next company, which is called MVC, that I had for many, many years. That was a large video distribution provider. So I was always like in communications. And and then out of that, and I sold my shares in that in 2018. But in parallel, I already started my other business because I didn't want to do hardware all my life. So I wanted to get back in software and services. So I started my current company, MeetYoo. And MeetYoo is a provider of web conferencing, video conferencing, teleconferencing, and we acquired a small company, was like a single-digit transaction, and integrated that, and they had like what I was fascinated about, digital events. And then the pandemic came, that really went through the roof. It grew very fast, and that was like when I was like in my late 40s, and in 2021, I was 51. I wanted to finish anyway, somehow working. And then we had 2 crazy years where the company grew very fast and everything. And we had a good chance to sell it, but we had maybe too aggressive M&A advisors. So it didn't happen. Momentum was gone, and we stayed with the company. And after that, a big roller coaster started. Had to lay off a lot of people, and I said, okay, I had a much younger team, like 10 years younger, and they wanted to take care of that. And that was like my 3rd exit, which was not a financial one, but I decided to step down as a CEO, and spend more time than here in France, where I live now for 10 years. And yeah, so these are basically the three exits in three very different phases of my life.
So you mentioned that the very first exit when you were in your mid-20s brought you enough financial resources and you even started investing in real estate. Why did you decide at that point to start a new company?
First of all, I had these other companies, so this was like more. I always thought this was like a lucky punch that we could sell that in that manner. It was no process, it was no bidding, it was just someone. It was having the right thing at the right time, and I just took the opportunity. I was maybe smart enough not to think so much like I did in my last one. Otherwise, I would have sold it. So I just did it, and I never had the idea to quit working or something. So I still had the other company. I could invest into that business and in the MVC business, and yeah, and then I started to build MVC over many years. And for me, it always one thing came out of the other. I never really stopped something so hard and then I did something else. I know the American way is like. I build that, I do that, I sell it, I do the next one. So for me, it was like things happening somehow also a little bit in parallel, and one thing came out of the other in a way.
MVC took you 20 years to build, didn't it?
Yeah,
Before you sold it six
yeah,
years
yeah.
ago.
I sold it in, yeah, but it was also not a very typical exit. So I sold it in different stages. I sold different, I had different smaller exits. And then in 2018, I sold the last shares. MVC is still around and is doing fine. So it's, yeah, but out of MVC, I already in parallel again, I started building MeetYoo because I wanted to do new things. I also moved away from where I lived at that time in Frankfurt to Berlin, and yeah, so maybe I was always a little bit like a multi-entrepreneur doing different things a bit.
So, what do you think drove you to keep doing it? Was it more a financial motivator, or was it your creativity? What pushed you forward for so many years?
I think like every entrepreneur, I love entrepreneurship. I love Mondays. I like to get up and do something. I love selling. I'm a salesperson, and it's also like an evolution. So I started with video conferencing software. I went into teleconferencing. I could do a large. I also did a large acquisition. I bought Teamworld Service Center from Deutsche Telekom. I built a conference service provider. So I was always curious and doing new things. And along the way, I had the situations where I could exit in whole or parts of the business.
Okay, so what happened at 50?
It was not the number. First, I thought it's the number, but when I woke up the day I was 50, it was the same like the day before. But I think the pandemic changed much, and to be honest, we also realized that when I started so young in my 20s, I broke up. I didn't finish university. I was always a sales guy. I was selling flowers at the garden door of my parents. So I was always the youngest, but suddenly I was more or less the oldest, and in my own company. And we hired these people, and I said, okay, time is so important, and what can I do, and how can I spend my time better? So do I want to be in the office all the time? So before it was like a little bit different, but with the pandemic we started, I was always a big fan of remote work, and already starting with 40 where I really transformed myself. You have to imagine that I was 90 plus kilo in my 40s. So between 30 and 40 I was really working and working and working and building MVC and starting with MeetYoo and doing all these things. But I was not living healthy, and to be honest, I was a fat guy. And then I became an Ironman. So I totally changed. My doctor said to me that you're probably gaining half a kilo to 1 kilo per year. And if you want now, it's still okay. But if you want to see your kids grow up and everything, so again, I had a radical mind shift. I was quite sporty before 30. I didn't do anything between 30 and 40, and then I could hardly run to the like 500 meters or something, and then I started and yeah, I did all these things and started running and started doing marathons, and when marathons were not enough, started cycling and swimming and started triathlons and started with a small one and more and more and more. And I still love that. And so I really, that changed a lot for me to find this hobby for myself. And yeah, and together with the pandemic, and so the pandemic was very intense because we had a solution that people really wanted and needed. They couldn't do events, so we've been one of the companies that could deliver these digital events, and so that was very, very intense. So the company grew from like 50 people to 150 people, and in a very fast time. And yeah, but and then it went down because people wanted to go back to normal events, and I said, okay, I need to change something. And so while we're laying off people, I said this is maybe a good sign also for me to step back and do something else. And I was at that time like financially independent more or less, so I did alongside my businesses, I was investing in real estate and did other things. So I could say, okay, so I'm also affected by that, and that was a good decision because it gave me some space now from the actual business and everything, so I could digest that. Because it's hard if you're so successful, and then you make you say the most expensive no in your life. That was like almost, yeah, the 3-digit millions amount, so a huge amount of money. I mean, that would be worse to be called an exit. But I declined it because, yeah, for whatever reason, it happened in the past. So I'm over it, and that's fine. And yeah, so and that was good for me to do other things, and started angel investing, writing on LinkedIn, how we met, and yeah. So probably not the very
So,
exit story that you have from others where they say, okay, I built for 10 years, 15 years, and then I did a big exit, and now I don't know what to do with my time. I always knew what to do with my time. So I love reading. I do 100 things. I always have to do something.
did you have all these hobbies your whole life, or when did you discover them? Because you did work very hard.
I worked very hard. But it never felt like working, so I enjoyed it. It was like, for me, it was, and if you're younger, you don't feel it is so hard. So maybe today I would call it very hard because it's been many hours. Um, I was in a way fearless. I was doing crazy things. I was doing marketing, sales, everything. So I like to pull off things from the ground and do new things. But during all that time, maybe not so much between in the phase between 30 and 40, but my kids were born like in 98. So it was like, and I got divorced and things. So it was not that I didn't have hobbies at that time, but I just simply had too many things at the same time and problems with my business partner. So I could not take care. But even in my 20s and not so much in my 30s, but then again, very much in my 40s, I always was I was like in a way like selfish. I took time for me and I traveled and I did things. So it was never that I thought, okay, let's achieve that and then I will do this. So I had financial goals. I wanted to have a Porsche by 30. I had it. It's just once you have it, it's like the real thing to get it. It's like gone. So I still enjoyed it, but it's like, yeah, you're buying luxury things and I don't know, and watches and stuff like that, but you see this is not so important. So I found having good time with friends and doing these sort of things gave me more satisfaction. And I did nice things throughout all my life, and what I try to, of course, now more than because when we're getting older, I think we understand that time is the most important thing that we have.
So, talking about time, how long did it take you to go from that fat workaholic to an Ironman?
5 years.
That's fast. How old were you when you started?
I started end of 30. I did my first competitions beginning of 40, and I did my first Ironman that was like I was 43. How many years that ago? Which year was that? Minus 12 years, yeah. In 2012, 13, something like that. Running the New York Marathon, I was running the Berlin Marathon for 7 times in a row. I was doing all these things. So I had between 40 and 50, I had a very intense sports career late, but I had it. So
And are you continuing now after 50?
of course. I cycle almost every day. I cycle every morning, like 2 3 hours. I just did with my partner. We did just MeetYoo in Provence, this famous cycling mountain, and she just started 2 years ago. She's absolutely excited. And I was writing about that on LinkedIn. So she's the real star because she has not so much time to train. She's building her own business, and I'm doing that. But unfortunately, that is also one thing. Is like the knees are getting that, so I can't run as I did. I did run too much on concrete, and so some knee problems and some other things. But I don't want to complain. Luckily, I'm okay. But and yes, if I would not have my sports, I would just freak out.
So you have this big smile while you're talking about your training. So I assume you did it because you love doing it. You actually love the process.
I love it so much. It's like, for me, it's like I'm sitting on my bike with that big smile. So I see I'm not stressed to achieve something. I did some things, I'm in the moment. So I'm not with my phone. I enjoy the time, and it's really nice. And I like to swim in the sea.
But you did enjoy building businesses quite as much when you did that. So again, what happened at 50 that made you decide, I don't enjoy it quite as much anymore?
I think first of all, I was maybe disappointed that I missed that chance. I don't know, and it was not like. And I thought, okay, now you're 50. It's like, what would change if I would do that instead of this younger guy? I'm not saying that I'm not going to build another business. Maybe when I'm 60. I still loved talking to founders. I love I speak with founders every day. Writing about it. I don't know, but it's I don't have all the stress of doing it. So, but it might come a time where I say, okay, I the idea is good enough. I want to try it one more time. Maybe, I don't know.
So you stopped running your business, MeetYoo, and switched to angel investing. Is it because it's less stressful?
It's totally different. It just gives me a little bit. So I did just around 10 investments. So it's not, I'm not a big angel. So I'm looking at many things. So I want to build a portfolio. That is my plan. So if you want, I'm a long distance guy in life, in sports, in business. And from smarter guys, I heard you need to have at least, so I allocated an amount of money that I want to deploy. You need to have at least 25, 30 companies that you're investing in. So I was a bit too fast, like always in the beginning, because I wanted to have it to say, okay, I did my first investment, so it was probably not a very good one. And so yeah, but I'm learning. I try to learn. I try to connect to people that are doing that for a longer time and more experienced investors. And yeah, it gives me like the feeling that. I see a lot of different things. It's like out of intellectual curiosity. I speak with young founders. I see their eyes when they're like passionate. It reminds me how I was. And I sometimes think, oh, it's good that you don't know what is coming, and you just do it. And but I also need to learn that it's not my business; it's their business. I cannot tell them how. I try to in the beginning to help them a little bit. I think it was too much. And you learn, and when they need you, you speak with them. So it's like I try to support and be active. So I'm always in this investor relation calls. I take them serious, and yeah, and I have time. It's good to have like I think we've been discussing that the last time. It's like I have my blocks in the calendar on 3 days where I take these appointments. So it gives me, because other people they say, "Well, what are you doing all day? You can't be riding your bike all the time." Or, and I said, "Yeah, but I also work." So and this is when I have like sitting in my home office and doing these calls and speaking and looking at deals and
So how much time do you really spend on your investments?
over the whole week I would say maybe one working day, maybe 8 to 10 hours, something like that.
Do you miss the structure you had when you ran the business?
I would say I have more routines now. I can train much more structured. I'm physically better than I was like 10 years ago, at least in cycling. I didn't have any routine. It just, I went like early in the morning into the business, and I went home in the evening. So, and I was busy the whole day, and some days I did not even know in the evening what did I had for lunch. I don't know, especially the last years. So yeah, you fill your day with appointments, and it depends what you. I mean, I look at people that are so much more successful, and they have like very structured days. I don't know. I just try to be there and speak with the people and speak with customers, and that again was also very depending on the stage of the company. So when MVC was bigger and everything, so in the beginning I did everything, and I did a lot of sales. And then in MVC we got investors, and we had to do reports, and we had to we had a board and all these things. So it became a bit different, and we had assistants, and yeah.
Do you ever miss it?
Yes, not the business. I miss to have a team. I miss people because I always love to be around people. I learned to be on my own. I ride with others. I have family. I have kids. They have friends. So there's always something going on. But it was nice to. So I still speak 1 hour a week with the MeetYoo guys, and they update me, and we're discussing a bit about the progress. But it was different. So when you had a team, you had this responsibility. You were standing in front of the team. It was like, hey, we have to do that, and we can make it, and everything. So it was like in business angel is a bit of you're like a bit of a lonely guy. It's not a VC company where you maybe have a partner or like a little team. You're like a bit disconnected. So that, but I speak and with people, so it's okay. But I miss it, yes.
So do you miss the creative side of it?
The creative side of it was that is a very good question. I think this is what drives us most, and I mean creative in every way. Like not creative because I was not creating art or something, but we were like creating solutions for problems all the time and fixing things, and you had to be creative. Either the money was not enough or problems with the customer. You always needed to be creative, and that was something that was, it kept your mind busy. That is, I miss that too. So and also seeing what gave me a lot of now in retro perspective, like a lot of pleasure was like seeing people that start to work for you, and how they develop, and how they start like, I don't know, in a very low position, and or people that had no good CVs, and they are getting better and better, and seeing their loyalty, and you see how they strive. So that was something also that I always really enjoyed. I think I was quite an asshole in the first years because I just had to. I'm saying that to myself. Maybe no, probably I was, but it was like I until we started doing feedback service and things, and you always have like a different perception. I didn't reflect so much on what I was doing. I was just doing it, and I wanted to be successful, and so I had no time and no money to discuss everything in the big round and say, okay, guys, let's do it like this. Um, every one of you have one voice, so you're like five guys, but I have five voices, so okay, so the vote is over, and we're going to do it like this. But over time, you become a better manager, and yeah, so it's also an evolution as a person that is happening privately and also in business, I think.
So now that you've stopped working 2 years ago, and I know you write beautifully on LinkedIn, and I highly recommend anybody who is listening to us to follow you. I think your posts there are absolutely fascinating. So, do you feel you had a chance to process your previous experience, uh, and do you understand yourself better as a person and as an entrepreneur?
I think writing helps. So I had a time when I was doing some kind of journaling. I meditate for. I did some. I meditated for a long time. I do yoga and these things. Um, I think you need to get out of the actual business in order to properly reflect. I mean I try to when there were problems, and I was thinking about, was I right? How did I treated this person? Was that okay? No, it was not. And, so I got better in that, but like more overall, how did I behave? So, and it's interesting because I read stories from others, and then I think, oh, I have a good idea what happened to me in that respect, and then I write it down, and I share a story, and it's always connected somehow to business, how we were winning large deals, and it's interest. No, it's not so interesting, but I think it's quite normal. Also, so many things have changed, but still a lot of things are quite the same, or the problems that I call them, these kids are seeing when they're starting a business, the same like 30 years ago. So also they have more tools and other things they can, but they still ask me, so this guy wants a company car, but the other hasn't one, so can I do that? And so we're talking about things that we've been talking for all the time.
Tony, do you have a sense of purpose?
I wanted to have my own money and move out from my parents' house. And so I had financial purpose. I wanted, so I didn't have like the purpose, like, I don't know, changing the world for the better and these things. So I know that every accelerator program, everything, yeah, but what is the purpose in your business and your why and everything? And my why was simple. So I come from middle class family. We all had everything we wanted to have, but I wanted more. At that stage, there were financial things. I wanted to be independent, and I think you can only achieve independence if you have some kind of financial independence. And I knew I would not find it in a being employed somewhere and working for someone else. So the purpose was to have enough money that I really started small. So my first purpose was that I could afford to buy a pair of quality socks and not like the six pack that my parents bought us for my brother and myself. So it was like the purpose started small, and over time I like also in MeetYoo, and when I got the kids and everything. So I understood, but I have to lie, or it would be a lie if I say I did it intentionally. But I use it very much then to say, okay, but MeetYoo has a purpose because it avoids business travel and everything and teleconferencing. So there is a purpose because we cannot pollute the world and everything. But saying that I was like the big Greenpeace guy and that wants to save the world and everything, and that is why I did that business, would be a total lie. So I was always in that conferencing and collaboration business. I added purpose, started with more the marketing side of purpose. And then coming to my own purpose, I think this is that changed. And I was thinking a lot about what could be my purpose. And I think there is some purpose in like being a good person. That sounds, I know that sounds very trivial, but you can be a good employer. You can have people that like to work in your place. And I think that most of the people that were working like the last 20 years for us would say that would still talk to me and would say that they had a good time, and I'm proud of that. So they are spending a lot of time in the company, in our company, and or wherever they work for. And I think that gave me purpose to be a good employer, to be fair, to treat the people in the right way, and to give people a good job. And that became my sense of purpose. Actually, now without having anything that I can, that I'm not an operator anymore at the moment. I do some type of donations. I give a lot of karma-based advice if they want it or not, and so I don't get anything in return. Is that purpose? I don't know. I try to support my kids as good as I can, and to live in a happy relationship. So it's like I know so many definitions of purpose, I think.
Yeah, but I'm just interested in your personal sense of purpose. So since you left the business, did you feel you lost that sense of purpose, or you were just in the process of building a different type of purpose?
Purpose of a business is making money. So and so I'm a capitalist, and giving people jobs and creating value, and since I'm not selling, okay, I would not sell porn stuff or weapons or something that I always said I would not do something that I could not explain to my kids. So from that is my purpose. I know people say a lot, but what is on a personal level? Again, it's like it's a process. I'm still trying to figure out that question. To be honest, I don't know what is our purpose. What is your purpose? So it's a big word. Why are we here? So people ask you this. So and also I think I'm a heavy reader, and I was reading from like Russian literature, everything. So I try to look at so many things, and you can read Ikigai in Buddhism, and I was like trying to, but what is purpose? I mean, in a world that is as crazy as it is at the moment, when there is this war going on in Israel and in the Ukraine, and it's difficult. So I don't know. I try to be a good human.
Brilliant. So how old are your kids now?
Really old, I would say. So that's because I'm old. So the twins are 25, and I have like a bonus kid which came from my new wife, and she's 7, is small.
So my last question, Tony, is how do you want to be remembered?
First of all, I love life, and I want to. I don't know. So in my philosophy, it brings a bit of bad luck to speak about what will come after. So it's like I
Okay.
don't know. I have this
You're
crazy
superstitious.
thing. Exactly, that was the word that was not coming to my mind. I'm superstitious. Um, so
Fair
this
enough.
is why I don't. Again, I want to be remembered as someone that was kind and that helped people and that was a good person. Like my grandfather was that type of person. So this is how I remember him. So all the kids on the block, they loved him, and he was kind and smiling in a very genuine way. So he was like, you felt it was authentic. It was not like playing a role. And so because if you take off all your clothes and all the material things and everything, what remains? What is the real essence of yourself? And so if you make yourself naked, and I think it's like really trying to be yourself and an authentic person, a good person, someone that people will say he could freak out easily, and he had his things going on, and he was also a bit crazy, um, but he had a good heart. So he was like he was a people person, and he took care, and I wanted yeah.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Tony. That's wonderful. Thank you so much. I really
Yeah,
enjoyed it.
you're welcome.